The roar of the fire was a ravenous beast, devouring the old wooden animal shelter with a terrifying hunger. Firefighter Mark Jensen and his crew worked with frantic precision, battling the smoke and flames. They had broken down doors and smashed windows, carrying out terrified dogs, cats, and rabbits. The air was thick with ash and the smell of burning pine. After a final, harrowing sweep, the chief gave the order, "Everyone out! The roof is going to collapse." The team evacuated, their faces black with soot, their lungs burning. They had done it. Every animal was accounted for. Or so they thought. As the firefighters regrouped at a safe distance, a frantic shelter volunteer ran towards Mark, her face streaked with tears. "We're missing one," she cried, her voice choked with panic. "Cleo, a small calico cat. She was in the back room. She must be hiding. She's terrified of loud noises." Mark's heart sank. He looked back at the burning building. The roof was groaning, and flames were now licking out of the very windows he had just exited. The chief's orders were absolute. No one goes back in. It was a suicide mission. But Mark could picture it, a small, terrified animal, trapped and alone, facing a horrifying end. He thought of his own cat at home, and a wave of resolve washed over him. He couldn't leave her. "I'm going back in," Mark said, pulling his mask back on. The chief yelled his name, a command mixed with a plea, but Mark was already running. He plunged back into the inferno, the heat so intense it felt like his skin was melting. "Cleo!" he yelled, his voice muffled by the mask. The smoke was a solid, blinding wall. The sound of cracking timber was all around him. He knew he had seconds, not minutes. He made his way to the back room where the volunteer said Cleo would be. The room was an oven, the ceiling sagging dangerously. He swept his flashlight beam across the floor, under desks, behind toppled shelves. Nothing. His hope began to fade. Maybe she had already perished. As he was about to turn back, defeated, he heard a faint, almost imperceptible sound, a tiny meow. He followed the sound to a large metal supply cabinet in the corner. He wrenched the door open, and there, huddled at the very back, was Cleo. Her fur was singed, her eyes wide with terror. But she wasn't alone. She was curled protectively around something. Mark reached in, and his hand touched not just one small, furry body, but several. Cleo wasn't just hiding. She was guarding her newborn litter of 4 tiny, helpless kittens, so young their eyes were still sealed shut. The sight was unbelievable. This mother cat had found the one spot in the room, a metal cabinet that had shielded her and her babies from the worst of the direct heat. She had refused to save herself because she would not abandon her family. Mark's heart ached with a profound mix of sorrow and awe. He gently scooped up Cleo and her entire litter, tucking them securely inside his fire-resistant jacket. As he turned to leave, a massive support beam crashed down from the ceiling, landing exactly where he had been standing moments before. He didn't hesitate. He ran, fueled by adrenaline and the precious weight in his jacket, bursting out of the building just as the roof finally gave way in a thundering, fiery collapse. He stumbled to his knees in the grass outside, gasping for air, and carefully opened his jacket. Cleo and her 4 kittens were safe. The crew stood in stunned silence, watching as this brave mother cat immediately began to wash her babies, calming them with her purr, her duty as a mother overriding her own terror and pain. The story of the firefighter who defied orders and the cat who refused to leave her kittens became a local legend. Mark didn't just save 1 life that day, he saved 5. And in the smoldering ruins of the shelter, he had found something more powerful than the fire itself. The unyielding, unbreakable power of a mother's love. Cleo and her kittens, once they were healthy, were adopted together by a loving family. But Mark never forgot her. He had gone into a fire to save a cat and came out having witnessed a miracle. Sometimes, the greatest acts of courage are not born from training or duty, but from a love so fierce it refuses to let go, proving that even in the face of utter destruction, life and love will always find a way to endure.